Hello, 7th grade. It is 11:45. I have a thumbs up, but I have nobody watching. But that's okay. That's like 75% of teaching anyways, just talking to yourself. Presumably some people will jump in here pretty soon, but if not, I'm guessing some of you are going to watch it later. It is Friday. It is November 20th. You have a test, as you can see, and I think it's back, it's mirror image, but your test is on Tuesday, the 24th of soybean or November. And Monday we will play the review game in class, but Tuesday is, of course, test day. I would like to remind you of a couple things. One is that your study guides, all 4 pages, are due on the day of the test, which once again, for the 4th time already, is Tuesday. They need to be all answered using complete sentences on the short answers and at least 3 full sentences on each essay. If you don't get that done, it's a 0 out of 20, which of course is not good for your grade. Vocab is vocab. They are all on the test. Every vocab that's on all 4 of your sheets, all of those are on the test. And so whenever I give, hi Miles, whenever I give advice to students, that's where I would start. I would nail down all the vocab first and then go from there. Essays, there are so many possible answers to all the essays that it's a waste of time for me to try to cover what all you could put on there. And so if you would like me to look over your essays Monday during breakfast or during lunch would be a great time. I'll be happy to do that for you. And so that's all the reminders I'd like to give you before we start going through these. I'll be pretty quick. I did the 8th grade at 11:15. It took me about 15 minutes, but there's a longer test than yours. So we should be able to get this done in 10 starting now. We're already 2 in, and I keep doing things like this, blabbing about things that are not relevant. But, you guys have been with me for enough weeks now that you know that that's pretty much how it's going to be. So here we go. Chapter 5, Section 1. It's the one that says 5-1 at the top of the page. Question 2. 1 is, of course, the vocab. Again, just to repeat, get those from the back of the book, write the whole definition, and nail those down. Those are definitely on the test. Name 3 acts that angered the colonists. There are more than 3. I don't care which 3 you put. Stamp Act, Sugar Act, Tea Act, Townsend Acts, Quebec Acts, Intolerable Acts. I'm sure I forgot some, but those are just the ones off the top of my head. Stamp Act, Tea Act, Sugar Act are usually the 3 easiest for junior high students to remember, and those will work. Number 3, how did colonists protest the Stamp Act? They boycotted, a full-on boycott of anything with a stamp on it. Now, again, remember, this is not that kind of stamp. It's this kind of stamp, a stamp like Mr. Leffler put on your homework when you completed it in 6th grade. I don't know if he still does that, but he used to. So anyway, this is pretty much any paper product. So newspapers, playing cards. They also burned effigies, which is a rag figure that is meant to represent a popular figure, in this case, the tax collectors, whatever. It's, of course, a vocab word on your study guide. Number 4 is the most open-ended question you could possibly get. Name 2 patriots that helped with the efforts of protesting. That's basically name any 2 of the founding fathers. If you want to put George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Samuel Adams, John Jay, Richard Henry Lee, Patrick Henry, John Hancock. I forgot already the ones I've already said. Any 2 of those dudes. I will remind you again of 2 different things for your test. Number 1, last names work. So if you put Washington, you're good. The only exception is if there are 2 or more people with the same last name, and that would apply in this chapter for the first time all year with John and Samuel Adams. If you are going to put John and Samuel Adams, do not just put Adams. You need to put John Adams, Samuel Adams, or just J. Adams. Okay, make sure you specify who you're talking about. If you don't know first names, if you forget George Washington's first name is George, first of all, you probably need more help than just this test review can provide, because everybody knows George Washington. But if you put Bob Washington, that's going to be wrong. So if you forget, just put the last name, okay, except for the Adams. Here we go. Essay, like I said, I'll come check those, or you could come to me and I'll check those breakfast or lunch. When was the Boston Massacre? I need month, March, date, 5th, Year 1770. I almost said 1970. March 5th, 1770. Okay, you need the date. How many were killed? That is 5. What was the name of the African-American man that was killed in the Boston Massacre? That was, of course, Crispus Attucks. Number 4, what act led to the Boston Tea Party? Please don't miss that one. The Tea Act. Okay, the Tea Act led to the Boston Tea Party. Name 3 things that were passed in the Coercive or Intolerable Acts. You can find that it's at the very end. It's on page 139 in your book. They closed Boston Harbor. They banned town hall meetings. They forced Bostonians to keep British soldiers, aka redcoats, in their homes against their will. That's where we get the Third Amendment. That's why that amendment is on the books. What else? They forced people to be shipped to Britain to be accused to be tried when they've been accused of crimes. So there's 4 things. You just need 3 of those. Oh, I do want to point out really quickly, the Coercive Acts and the Intolerable Acts are the same thing. So on the other question, name 3 acts that angered the colonists. If you put those 2, you only get credit for 1. Those are the same ones. The Coercive Acts were the name of the acts, but the Intolerable Acts are what the colonists called them because they thought this is intolerable. This cannot be put up with. Okay, here we go. Chapter 5, section 3. I was gonna hold this up to the camera, but I think it's backwards for you. Technology, But here we go. Name 3 delegates. Delegates means people who were sent to be representatives to the First Continental Congress. Again, that is John and Samuel Adams. That is John Jay, J-A-Y. That is Richard Henry Lee, Patrick Henry, famous quote machine, and of course, our boy G-Dubs, George Washington, who, spoiler, is going to be important later. He becomes the first president. Name 2 things the First Continental Congress decided. They are going to create a list of grievances to send to England, like, hey, this is why we're upset. They are going to boycott all British goods. They are going to pass the Suffolk Resolves that basically say we're going to get guns and be ready to fight if you guys want to fight. Those are the 3 main things. It's on 142 if you want to look in there and find more, but I would just do the answers that I said. You only need 2. What 2 men alerted the colonists to the British attack? And that, of course, famously is Paul Revere, and much less, unfortunately, famously, William Dawes with an S. If you put Daw, I'd probably take it. But anyway, it's Dawes, technically. What 2 frontier towns saw the first fighting of the war? That is, of course, Lexington and Concord. Concord was the town that they were marching to. Lexington is where they set up a small group of militiamen as a sort of a roadblock to try to slow them down so they can set up their surprise attack. First official battle was the Battle of Bunker Hill. That's the first battle where they actually were in uniforms on one side of the field and the other, and they were actually on Breed's Hill, which is a whole other thing that we talked about in class, but it doesn't matter. The battle, its name is the Battle of Bunker Hill. Okay. Chapter 5, section 4. What was the name of the pamphlet Thomas Paine produced and published? Common Sense. When was the Declaration of Independence signed? That is the 4th of July, 1776. That is why we have now. Actually, we can get a whole thing. They actually finished it a couple days before, and some people are like July 2nd should be our actual. But for our purposes, let's just remember the 4th of July, July 4th, 1776. That's why we have fireworks and all that stuff. Back in the olden days before quarantine, but that's another story also. Who wrote it? By it, I meant the Declaration of Independence for question 3. That, of course, is Thomas Jefferson. I did a little puppet show in class. King George III's response to the Olive Branch petition, he would not even allow it to be read to him. He basically said, no, don't even open that envelope. We're at war. And he issued the Proclamation of Rebellion that said it's on, like whatever the 1700s version of Donkey Kong is. The 4 major sections of the Declaration of Independence, the preamble is 1. The next 2 are the rights that they should have. And then the 4th one says we're a new country. It's really just 3. You could put the preamble, the rights they should have, and the formation of a new country. That's what we're looking for. They technically put them into 4 sections. Those are the 3 things you need to get your credit on the test. 3 men who attended the Second Continental Congress that did not attend the First Continental Congress. There are a few, but the 3 the book mentioned are Benjamin Franklin, aka Little Baby Benny, or B. Frizzle, who was in France during the first one. John Hancock, who put his giant signature. We actually call signatures John Hancocks now. If you say, give me your John Hancock, you means you want somebody to sign something. And our 3rd president, spoiler, sorry again, Thomas Jefferson. Okay. Once again, we're at the essays, and once again, I will look at those for you if you want to bring them to me in lunch or breakfast, because a lot of those are a matter of opinion or whatever. And plus you'll have a choice on the test if you're an in-person test taker anyway. So that is, I don't think I skipped any, the end of the 4 pages of the study guide. We have completed this. If I wrap it up in under 1 minute, remember we started at 2 and it's almost 12 minutes total. We will have finished this under 10 minutes as our goal was. Thanks to those of you, I think we got up to 5 viewers. 8th grade got up to 7. It's fine. It doesn't matter to me. As long as you take the time to watch it later, that's cool too. But thank you to those of you that were tuned in, and I will see you Monday. We will go through these again on the review game on Monday, but the test, as you can see backwards, is Tuesday. Your study guides are due on Tuesday. They have to be finished, every single question, and short answers, complete sentences, and essays, 3 full sentences to get credit for any of it. Golf cart grading, remember, park it or floor it. It's all or nothing. So keep wearing your mask if you're outside or going out of the house. Wash your hands, stay safe, have a good rest of the weekend, and be ready to play the review game on Monday. I'll talk to you later. Bye.